Hey everybody, welcome back. Original Grognard, Devin, Grognard's Corner, and we're looking at a new game today. We are taking, well, not really a new game, but we've got a new game on the table. We are taking a look at Command & Colors, Napoleonics, and if this title sounds vaguely familiar to you, it should. It is based on the classic Richard Borg game, Battle Cry, that he did for Avalon Hill. One of the last games Avalon Hill actually put out before they were bought out by Hasbro. 94, 95, something like that. Richard Borg, I think part of the genius of it, I do want to say it's Richard Borg. Don't confuse it with that individual Richard Berg, the other game designer, the one we don't like to talk about too much. So Richard Borg designed Battlecry originally, and part of the genius is that he took his basic system and basically started adapting it and licensing it out to everything. So he originally did Battlecry, which was the American Civil War. And then a few years later, through GMT, he released Command & Colors Ancients, and that went on to have 6 or 7 titles or something. I've even got 2 of them over there, sitting over there. You can see Command & Colors Ancients. I think it's the Eastern Kingdoms and Greek one, the one I've got. I don't know. It's been a while since I cracked that one open. I do want to get the Roman Civil War, the Roman Republic expansion. When it comes to Ancients, I think the Romans are probably my most the period point in time that I have most interest in. First Punic War, Second Punic War with Carthage. Not so much against the Spartans or the Spartans against the Eastern Kingdoms, but that's interesting enough. He started branching out and doing a whole bunch of other licensing and releasing other titles using pretty much the exact same base system. There's Memoir 44, which is the World War II one. I know a lot of people know that one. I can't remember who does it, but there is a Westeros one, I believe, that has got a couple dozen expansions for that one at least. There's the World War I version that just came out for this. I've heard rumors coming down the pipe that there's a Revolutionary War version of this coming out. I know Zvezda, the Soviet can't call them that anymore, can we? Well, yeah, we can, but that's a whole nother debate. The Russian miniatures company also licensed from him to do they've got a Feudal Japan version. And the great thing about this, the Command & Colors system, is that if you learn one system, you've basically learned all the systems. They aside from a little chrome and flash from here and there, the systems are pretty much generic across the board, which is one of its greatest strengths. And some people would say it's kind of its greatest weakness as well. You learn one system, you've pretty much got them all, and just learn the Flash and Chrome, and you can basically play any other system out there, which is good because it saves you having to spend a lot of time reading new rules if you want to play another game. It's relatively easy to get into the system. The original Battlecry, the Civil War one, I was even able to teach my girlfriend, and she played it with me a few times. So it's not a deep kind of a deep thinking game. It's not a difficult game, really, and that's not a bad thing. I play enough Advanced Squad Leader, Advanced Tobruk System, Avalon Hill games that, sometimes I don't want to try to give birth to an accountant, so I need something simple and easy. And Command & Colors fills that niche just fine. It's great for your rank and file system or rank and file type warfare. Played Memoir 44 a couple times. It works, but there's a little bit more suspension of disbelief with that. With this, you've got the nice little blocks, and everything looks like it's all in nice formation, like rank and file warfare is. So, yeah, you'll see this played a lot at cons. It's a great pickup game. I mean, if you know what you're doing, you can probably burn through a game in less than an hour. Even if you don't know what you're doing, you probably burn through a game in about less than an hour. So what we're doing is we're looking at Command & Colors Napoleonics. I'm not going to get too deep into the rules. This isn't a learn to play series that I'm doing. This isn't a how the mechanics work. I'll probably explain a few things here and there, just to lightly touch on things for those who may not know the system. But no, this is more me being my typical unclever self, just playing a game, throwing a dice at myself, and giggling and trying to have fun. So, if you're looking for any great deep insights to the game or the system, you're not going to get it from this video. I hate my camera position. I can't get a lot of the field. I mean, we've got a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of blocks out there. And so, I just can't really get them all into one camera view with the way my camera setup is. But we'll do what we can, and we'll see what we can do. The scenario we're doing is as I said, Command and Colors Napoleonics. This is the base system. I don't have any of the expansions, although I really do want to get the Spaniard expansion, and I really do want to get the Russian expansion, and I really want to get the Prussian expansion. Yeah, you get the idea. The scenario we're doing is Talavera, which is the kind of the beginning of the First Peninsular War. My Napoleonics history is a bit squishy, so I'm sure if I make a mistake, there'll be people that'll be pulling their hair out. You idiot! You don't know what you're talking about. Duh. But technically, if I remember correctly, it was a operational or strategic British victory, but they ended up actually losing because they weren't able to keep one of the French generals, and the British had to pull out of the peninsula, and Wellington was all pissed, and whatever. The infamous Sharpe series, they had one of the first Sharpe's books. Richard Sharpe, Cromwell, I think, wrote them. The first book was on Talavera, and we actually have some, let's see, rifle light. Let's see if we can kind of zoom in, which is supposed to be, Sharpe's, unit, although Sharpe's unit actually didn't get there in time for the battle, but, in the book it said that he, the advanced lead elements of, Sharpe's unit made it there in time. I don't know why I'm going off on that, but we've got it set up. Talavera. French starting off, French have how many command cards? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 command cards. I think the British have 7 command cards. The victory point limit is 7 flags. And I'll go ahead and zoom in on those. There's 7 victory points for each side. Basically, every time you either kill a leader or wipe out a formation. And a formation is a hex full of units. So, those 3 light... Are those lights? Yeah, those 3 light cavalry represent 1 unit, and these 4 line infantry represent 1 unit. Every time you get a eliminate a unit or eliminate a leader, you get a victory point. First person to 7 victory points wins. That's all set up in the scenarios. I will say something. I do love the dice. I mean, it's it's really, really basic, simple dice. You roll, and if you're shooting or attacking something and you hit what it is, so this is basically an infantry hit, that's an artillery hit, that's a cavalry hit, that's a hit on the unit. Saber is a hit if you're in melee, a flag is a retreat, and I think there's 2 infantry symbols on each dice, and then 1 each for retreat, melee, cavalry, and artillery. Simple dice system. The trick is usually remembering what each unit can do and the special abilities that each one of them have. So I'll probably be referring to the chart a lot because, I got the basics of the game down. I don't remember exactly what the difference between Grenadier Light Infantry and Grenadier Rifle Infantry is, so I'll probably be hitting the national chart quite often. And there's one for, here's this one's for the British units. And I think these are the Portuguese units over here. Their basic blocks per unit, movement, any special battle rules, and there's the second card for the French. They've got a few more units that they have to worry about. So, but this is just straight up French versus British. French in blue, British in red. Who'd have thought, right? This is not a good solitaire-friendly system, just because of the card mechanics. But what we're going to do is I'm just going to go through and I'm going to play it to the best of my abilities. I have some basic ideas in mind. Basically, for this, since really the only scenario special rules is that this river isn't really a river; it's just a stream, and it stops movement. As soon as you move into it, it stops movement, so it doesn't block movement. And for some reason, I was setting it up. We got these earthworks here for this foot cannon up here. It's actually supposed to be on a hill, so I just have to remember. I didn't want to go through and flip all my tiles over to find out the exact one that had the hill with earthworks on it. So that hex is actually a hill with earthworks where that foot cannon is. And then we got the little village here, and typical Spanish countryside, hilly all over the friggin' place. Not much in the way of woods. There's like 3 woods units over here. I have a basic idea and plan in mind for both sides, sorta. Basically, with the British are just basically going to hold the line at the river or at the stream. I'll probably move these guys up. Maybe try to, secure the village, move these guys up, have the artillery in overwatch. But, yeah, just basically hold the line. Got a few reserves so I can try to plug some holes. And my basic strike is going to be with a lot of this heavy cavalry up here. And they're going to be pushing down this flank to see what they can do against the British or the French cavalry. This is French light cavalry. That's heavy cavalry that the British have. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, my basic battle plan with the British is it's force one flank and just hold the line everywhere else. The British, yeah, that's the British. The French have got a lot of troops. I mean, I've got a lot of troops all stacked. A lot of line infantry, few light infantry. Not much in the way of cav. I got one heavy cav right there, but the rest of it is, the other cav that I've got is this light cav over here. So basically they're just going to be trying to screen against the heavy cav, because I know if I were playing this against my opponent, I wouldn't be getting too aggressive with my light cav over here as the French. But with the French, it's just going to be, as much as it seems like a stupid tactic, right up the middle. Let's just go ahead and force right up the middle and try to punch through where we can, and try to go right up the middle. But like I said, since it uses a card mechanic, you've got these command cards that you play one command card turn. And that tells you, basically what your forces are doing for the turn. I'm just going to try to play it to the best of my abilities on both sides. I haven't really... Well, this is actually the first time I've looked at the French cards. I haven't even looked at the British cards yet. So, I'll just play it to the best of my abilities. And I guess we'll see what happens. This probably isn't going to be a very long series. 2, maybe 3 videos tops, depends on how I want to break it down, how quickly the game goes. Yeah, I think that's about all I got. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, criticisms in the comment section. And probably, depending on how I'm feeling tonight, I may pump out another video tonight. I don't know. I haven't decided. Long-term planning's never been a strong suit of mine. I will see everybody later.